So right now we've got the base of our transmission here. Gaskets are scraped. I was going to pull all the bearings out of here and we'll finish cleaning this case, and then we will drive new bearings and seals into it and put the whole thing back together. Hopefully be able to go drive around. This was the PTO bearing. This is what really destroyed everything. This thing, you give it a quick tap with the punch and popped it out. You can see how shot it is. And if you look in there, it's missing a lot of the balls. So this one's pretty chunky. It's got, you can feel it catching. That definitely is no good. That's where it's a little scored up, and if this was for a customer or at a big shop, probably got a new case because of this little score mark. But I think I can polish this up enough to get it to work. It's just lightly scored. That's where the piston rides in and out. And we've got some metal debris in it. So there's a couple scratches. Here's one of these. Nice fresh, so it's really square. This disc right here is what rides in there. So there's a seal along the edge. Right there, that was in the bottom. You can see how it's all smashed up with some metal in there. So, looking at this, I'd say the first 1/4 inch isn't super critical because it's going to bottom out. And that's a little over 1/8. That's probably 3/16, and the seal's 1/8. So I think if the first 1/4 inch isn't perfect, we'll probably still be okay. And that looks like about where it's getting a little funky, and we have a good sealing surface further out. And really, chances of us getting this thing perfectly clean is slim. We get as clean as I can, and put some fresh oil in it. Run it for just a little bit, and then change the oil and filter. We're going to go through a few rags because I don't want to put all this stuff back in there. That's okay, they come by the roll. So I got one. My knees hurt. Nice chunk of foam's good. This one even says it's extreme, so it's perfect. We're pretty well cleaned out. We'll take a roll lock and just clean all these surfaces, and then we'll tap the holes and give it one last wipe inside. So, I got the case cleaned. I didn't film all that, it was pretty tedious, but I got all the surfaces cleaned, polished up. All the fittings on here have been taken out, cleaned. I put tape over them just to keep them clean. Fresh Boss O-rings, and where there's pipe dope, that's been replaced. You might say, why did you change the O-rings? They might not have leaked. Well, look at this. This is one of the ones that came out. Yeah, it just snapped. They are hard, brittle, deformed. Here's another one. This will probably, see how it breaks. These old O-rings, you don't want to trust them. They can break at a bad time, and if those snap on you, like if this stuff failed, I'd have oil pouring out. If these up here failed, I'd have a leak on a brand new rebuild. That would not be okay. So it's all clean, ready to go. It took a lot of cleaning to get happy and make sure there wasn't any metal in there. It was all full of shiny silver pieces. And then all the parts, they've gone through the parts washer, been cleaned. I pulled the bearings out. I think I showed you that. Here's the worst of them. Missing most of the balls. That's for the pump. And I've got the repair manual over here. So we're actually going to be doing this correctly. It's got all the fold outs. And we got plenty of tools. So we're going to start off by putting the output shaft in. I've got the simple one. It's a non-disconnect. These came with either a rear output, a front and rear non-out disconnect shaft, which is what I have, or for some loaders this transmission was in. There's a whole nother assembly down in here, which is why there's this whole space and that machine surface in that bore for a bearing, which we don't use in this particular transmission. But there was a whole disconnect assembly, and they put a shifter, the whole board, I think here. Yeah, because there's the boss for it, so it would have been right here. It's not bored in this case. But those were used if you wanted to be able to have the front and rear axles lock or unlock for road or off-road travel. We don't have to deal with that. So we're going to get our driven gear installed, our shaft, our bearings, all new bearings and seals. That's going to be our first step, and then we're just going to work our way up through the transmission. Once that's in, then we'll probably step up. I cleaned this bore up. It's actually looking, it's not perfect, but I measured it, and the little scrapes that are there after I polished everything up are far enough back. I don't think it's really going to cause us to leak. These cases are kind of expensive, but that should be behind the seal. That was probably from having metal in there just getting jammed back every time the piston retracted. So we'll get our output shafts in, and then we'll start working our way up. Build up all this. We'll have to take a few side steps to put the sub-assemblies together. Most of the stuff we need next is in the parts washer. I won't bore you with washing the stuff, but I'll stop and wash it as we go. And we'll get this thing filled back up. And then we're also gonna, later on here, we will remachine this. The brake pedal goes on this shaft, and it's severely worn, as you can see. Put new bushings in it. That might be its own video though. Along with, once we put the parking brake on here, I got photos from a guy on Facebook who has a running 330 Timberjack, which is the same transmission, different motor, but it has the same parking brake, because I'm missing the linkage and the parking brake lever. But he sent me photos. It's a standard parking brake lever, and then I just have to make a little linkage rod. So we'll do all that before it leaves the shop. But enough talking. Let's get some stuff put together and see if I can clear some floor space in my garage and get this machine back in the woods where it goes. Alright, that's just really hard to do now.